WWE is a huge soap opera in real life. From its off-the-wall acting to their orchestrated theatrics, without a doubt, it puts on a great show with fun-filled entertainment. There have been plenty of instances in professional wrestling that have gone above and beyond what one may consider amusing, some of which had an even greater impact on our society and outside of professional wrestling. From WWE stars dying in and out of the ring, to Vince McMahon's sex scandal ending his career as CEO, and a superstar getting paralyzed in the ring. There have been too many shocking moments to count in WWE history, but these are the 20 most shocking moments in WWE history. Starting on the list, we have Hulk Hogan at number 20. On July 24th, 2015, Hulk Hogan was fired by the WWE for using the N-word. The Hulkster was caught using the N-word and expressed disgust at the thought of his daughter dating a black man, and even acknowledged that he was, in his own words, a racist to a point. A few of his fellow wrestlers, most notably Booker T and The New Day, raked him over the coals as he was sacked from the WWE, along with being kicked out of the WWE Hall of Fame. But if you think racism is bad, just sit tight, because at number 19, we have the Vince McMahon Kiss My Ass Club that gets ended by The Rock. The Kiss My Ass Club was one of the funniest angles of 2001. Vince McMahon received the retribution he got after requesting numerous wrestlers and staff members to kiss his ass on live television. This was all ended by The Rock himself when he made Vince kiss Rikishi's ass. Number 18. Edge and Lita's live sex celebration. On January 9, 2006, Lita and Edge were converted into heel characters by the fans who had turned against them. The fans still had it in for them, especially Lita, even though this worked out nicely and they both were incredible heels. Vince took advantage of that as well, making Edge and Lita the two biggest sleazebags in the organization, which culminated in this humiliating sex show that happened live on air. Number 17. The Plane Ride from Hell. On May 5th, 2002, one of the worst instances in WWE history took place when the WWE private jet took off from London, where their show was being filmed. All the roster were absolutely blitzed out of their mind following their event, and a lot of risky practical jokes were played, such as roofing wrestlers so their hair could be shaved. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, and Brock Lesnar got into a fight that almost opened the emergency exit door. The sexual harassment, however, was the worst of all. Scott Hall harassed a staff member prior to collapsing, and Ric Flair tried to persuade a flight attendant to touch his penis by cornering her and exposing himself to her. The only thing that stopped Flair was his co-wrestler Goldust, who, in spite of his immense intoxication, realized how ridiculous this was. Number 16. WCW going out of business. WCW saw a brief uptick in quality at the beginning of the 2001 season. Following several years of their declining quality and lack of fans' viewership, Mr. McMahon ended up swooping in and purchasing the business for pennies on the dollar. Without exaggeration, the demise of WCW has got to be the worst thing that's ever happened in wrestling. Although its final years were largely garbage, the mid-1990s saw some of the best wrestling feuds ever, and it forced the WWF at the time to change their programming to compete against WCW. WWF has drastically deteriorated, especially into its years changing names into WWE, in the absence of a significant opposition like WCW. Although now in later modern years, AEW has come around and kept WWE on its toes, the feud and the rivalry is still not nearly the same. Number 15. Jerry Lawler has a heart attack on air. On September 10th, 2012, Jerry Lawler suffered a heart attack while commentating on another match on television, not long after he fought in a tag team match. Breaking kayfabe, his co-commentator, Michael Cole, who had been at odds with Lawler for a long time, was obviously extremely upset about this heart attack. As the show went on, Cole updated shell-shocked fans on Lawler's health, and thankfully, Lawler made a speedy recovery and returned to commenting just a few months later. Number 14. Droz is crippled in an in-ring accident. On October 5th, 1999, Droz was still a promising wrestler in the WWF, and Vince McMahon was delighted with his gimmick. Droz could vomit on demand, and his streak came to an unfortunate end in October of 1999 when D'Lo Brown's poorly executed powerbomb cracked the vertebrae of Droz's neck. He was sent to the hospital right away, but at this point it was ineffective because he was already paralyzed instantly in the ring. Number 13. Mankind falls through the Hell in the Cell. On June 28, 1998, one of the greatest moments in wrestling history took place when The Undertaker and Mankind squared off in the Hell in the Cell match. The Undertaker took Mankind and chokeslammed him through the top of Hell in the Cell. This led Mankind to fall straight on his back, and many fans thought that Mankind could have died. The Cell's designer was unaware of Undertaker's immense strength, or they were also unaware of Mankind's weight, which ended up penetrating the fencing of the Cell, causing Mankind to fall straight on his back. Nonetheless, this caused for an amazing show, but shocked the fans to the core. Number 12. The 1994 federal steroid trial. The steroid trial almost drove the WWF to its knees in the early 1990s. The trial per se ended up to be a farce, as Vince McMahon was proven to be not guilty. However, in public opinion, many people believed that Vince McMahon was pushing steroids to make wrestlers' body physiques much bigger. However, this was never proven. The WWE ended up declining as the steroids ended up not flowing out to wrestlers, and many of the physiques that ended up coming out were much leaner and not as muscular as the ones of the 80s. Number 11. The Montreal Screwjob. Bret Hart would discover the hard way how to manipulate business in relation to his WWE title. Bret Hart was reportedly en route to join the biggest rival of the WWF at the time, WCW. According to sources, Vince had to get the heavyweight title back from Bret Hart, even if it meant going against Bret's wishes, which meant Bret would have to win against Shawn Michaels. However, this was the contrary that happened. Vince McMahon ended up calling the match early, screwing Bret Hart and stealing the title off of him. This would lead to Bret Hart's final match of the 90s and ended up shocking fans across the world, as Bret was a beloved member of the WWF for many years. Number 10. The death of Eddie Guerrero. Saying that Eddie Guerrero is the most adored wrestler of the 21st century is not a hyperbole. Even when he played a heel, the crowd never stopped applauding and popping for him. He battled an addiction for many years, which led to his release from the WWE. However, he recovered and made a triumphant comeback. He was headed for his greatest stretch of work, and then he passed away suddenly. He died in the arms of his nephew Chavo Guerrero. At number 9, The Undertaker's streak ends. The Undertaker's 2-decade-long perfect record at WrestleMania ended abruptly in 2014 when Brock Lesnar defeated him at WrestleMania. For most fans, this streak was never going to die for the immortal character. However, after much consideration, WWE decided to push Brock Lesnar as their main protagonist by ending The Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania. Number 8. CM Punk leaves the WWE. One of the most well-liked wrestlers of all time is CM Punk. He abruptly left the WWE in 2014. Fans were startled by his departure, which led to a lot of conjecture regarding his motivations. This led to a shocking TV program that was conducted by CM Punk, calling out the WWE and all its flaws, and this also led to CM Punk being scrubbed from the company for many years. Number 7. The Shield breaks up. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose made up the Shield, which was one of the most powerful groups in modern WWE history. Fans found their 2014 breakup, which was sparked by Seth Rollins' betrayal, to be stunning. Number 6. Roman Reigns' leukemia announcement. When Roman Reigns revealed in October of 2018 that his leukemia had returned and that he would have to take a leave of absence from the WWE to receive his treatment, the WWE Universe was taken aback. However, it led to an on-air, moving speech that inspired many of his admirers across the world. Number 5. The Fiend debuts. When Bray Wyatt changed persona to become The Fiend in 2019, the WWE Universe was enthralled. He immediately became one of the most fascinating characters in WWE, thanks to his spooky demeanor and distinctive in-ring style. Number 4. The death of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt passed away tragically after his COVID-19 diagnosis. He suffered complications from his diagnosis with COVID-19. This shocked wrestling fans around the world, as he was so beloved when he was Bray Wyatt, and he was even more beloved when he changed into his character, The Fiend. It came as a massive shock, and it was extremely unexpected. Number 3. Vince McMahon resigns as the WWE CEO. In addition to prior charges of sexual misconduct against this wrestling mogul, Vince McMahon, who is the founder of WWE Wrestling, resigned after massive allegations that he had sexually molested and mistreated a former colleague. However, Vince McMahon adamantly rejects these claims. Over the years, Vince McMahon has been known to have sexual relations with a lot of his workers, with a lot of his staff. The allegations were so crazy that some even said he was known to defecate on women and enjoy it. Number 2. The death of Owen Hart on May 23rd, 1999. Owen Hart played himself as part of the Hart Foundation for many years. However, Vince McMahon changed Owen Hart into the Blue Blazer. Many fans were disappointed by this gimmick and honestly thought that it insulted Owen quite a bit. However, at the Over the Edge pay-per-view, Owen Hart, also known as the Blue Blazer, was supposed to descend from the ceiling as part of his entrance. He unfortunately set off the trigger on his harness and descended from 78 feet above the ground. He died instantly in the ring. This event was so controversial as not only did it lead to a wrestler dying, but it also led to the show continuing to go on as per Vince McMahon's orders. And at number 1, we have the Chris Benoit tragedy. Chris Benoit was on the rise as a WWE superstar in the early to mid 2000s. He was nicknamed the Wolverine. He was also known for his intense work ethic and risky maneuvers in the ring. It came as a massive shock to the WWE Universe when Chris murdered his wife Nancy and son Daniel. Then later, he hung himself at their residence in Georgia. These were the 20 most shocking moments in WWE history. Leave a comment with the moment you found most shocking and why you found it most shocking. And also tell us which shocking moments we missed to get featured in our next video. Leave a like and subscribe for weekly WWE content. And if you think these moments were dope, you'd probably love seeing the 20 most brutal hits in WWE history.